Don't call me stupid. Welcome back to Have You Seen That Film? And today we're going to be discussing one of my all-time favorite comedies, A Fish Called Wanda, released in 1988. I don't know why I paused there, like the number was in my head, but for some reason I just paused and stared. Anyways, A Fish Called Wanda stars Jamie Lee Curtis, John Cleese, Kevin Kline, and Michael Palin. The story starts off as a heist story. Jamie Lee Curtis, who plays Wanda, Kevin Kline, who plays Otto, and Michael Palin, who plays Ken, along with their Jamie Lee Curtis lover, George, are planning a heist and to steal a certain jewel that will get them lots of money and they can all escape. Kevin Kline's character is ex-CIA and is a weapons expert, which is why he is there. Ken's character, played by Michael Palin, has a stutter, and that's kind of one of his things throughout the movie. And there's Wanda, who everyone's in love with. So anyways, the heist goes great, and after the heist you find out that Wanda is actually double-crossing George, her boyfriend, with Otto, and they're going to steal the jewels. And so they set George up, he gets arrested, and then they go to steal the jewels, and they're gone. And before you see them going to take the jewels themselves, you find out that Jamie Lee Curtis is actually going to double-cross Otto. So really, she's just double-crossing anyone so she can get the money and run off on her own and be wealthy. So because the jewels are not there, her and Otto work together to continue to find where the jewels are. So Wanda starts to flirt with Archie Leach, played by John Cleese, who is going to be George's barrister or his lawyer. And so the whole story is Otto and Wanda are trying to find out where the jewels are, and by seducing Archie, Wanda is, and Ken knows where the diamonds are because he's George's right-hand man, and so he's trying to keep that a secret while also trying to kill the only witness who saw George at the scene of the crime. So it creates this wild caper comedy that doesn't actually, it's not really a caper. You see the crime in the beginning, but the movie is not about the crime, it's about finding the diamonds and getting away still. I love this movie, and I have to say that one thing I love so much about it is, well, for one, it could have been a simple crime story, but it's not. It's much more than that. It's the aftermath of the crime and trying to escape and all that. But what I love so much about this story is the four main characters all have these weird quirks or traits about them. Well, not really Archie. There's not so much of a quirk about him, but Otto, he has these, he's probably got more than anyone else. He's, for one thing, the quote at the beginning I said, "Don't call me stupid." He's got this thing that he thinks he's so smart because he studies philosophy and all these other things, that he thinks he's smarter than everybody else. So he's got this issue when people call him stupid, which happens several times throughout the movie, that he just gets very upset. He doesn't like being called stupid. Another thing he does is, throughout the movie, he'll just lift up his arm and smell his armpit. And I think it's, from what I've watched it a few times, I think it's kind of a confidence booster for him. Why it is, I don't know. He also, he's very jealous, even though he won't admit that. He doesn't want anyone else having Wanda except for himself. So he's just got, and there's a few others, he's just got so many weird quirks that it just makes it fun to watch. And same with everyone else. Wanda's got this really weird quirk where when people speak in other languages besides English, it's a turn on for it. It's really weird. But and then Ken has a stutter, but he's also an animal lover, and what's unfortunate for him is he's trying to kill this old woman who witnessed George the crime. He actually keeps accidentally killing some of her animals, and it's just breaking his heart because he's a huge animal lover. So all the characters in this movie are so cleverly written that you're just that's one of the most engaging things for me is watching this movie and just seeing these characters and how they interact, but how they what makes them tick, what makes them, they're just, if you want to like watch a movie for a good character or characters study, I think A Fish Called Wanda is a perfect one, because you're going to have so many things across the board within this movie. Again, I also think the story is fantastic. The story is actually written by John Cleese himself, who he and Michael Palin are both members of the Monty Python, and so he wrote this and essentially brought on his buddy Michael Palin to come star in it as well. A few interesting facts about this movie. Archie Leach is actually Cary Grant's real name, and so John Cleese made his character, wrote his character with the name Archie Leach because he said he knew that'd be the closest he'd ever get to playing Cary Grant. Kevin Kline met John Cleese by filming a movie called Silverado in 1985, or at least in 1985. And they were introduced to each other, and John Cleese told him, I want to write a movie about a fish and I want you to be in it. And it was kind of like, laugh, okay, whatever. And then, oddly enough, they had a movie about a fish. And Kevin Kline went on to win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He actually almost didn't show up for the Academy Awards because he was nominated for a comedy, which was a rare occurrence already. And he didn't think he was going to win, so he almost didn't show up to the Academy Awards. But then, in the end, he decided to go, and lucky for him, he went because he actually ended up winning, which I think was well deserved for Kevin Kline. I find him to be a phenomenal actor, and he always gives it his best, I would say. This movie is definitely a more... It's got some tense moments where you're just kind of like, whoa, somewhat like crazy scenarios. Things that you expect within a comedy, but things that make you like, and keep you on your edge of your seat while you're still laughing and kind of just like, how are they going to get out of that? It's a phenomenal comedy. It's well written. And it's one that I highly recommend. I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite comedies. And if you're just looking for something that's a little bit different, this is for you. My wife and I and our friend have a film club, and this is what I picked just recently for our film club. Neither of the two had seen it, and they both were kind of like, that was definitely... They both actually really enjoyed it, which I was super glad. They said that was definitely not what they were expecting, and it was just kind of essentially different than what you normally expect. And so, again, but they both enjoyed it. So and I'm going to speak for them, they would recommend this film. So A Fish Called Wanda, it really is a fun ride, you just can't help but laugh at it, and again, it is well worth the time. Every minute is well spent in that movie. There's not a dull moment, and again, I highly recommend this for anybody out there. If you've seen it, I would love to hear what your opinion is of the movie. Comment down below, and if you haven't, go check it out. again, you won't regret it. At least I say that. So thanks for watching today. I sure hope you've been appreciating the videos that have been coming out, and I hope that I can continue to create content that all of you out there who are actually watching this will enjoy. Thanks for watching. That's a wrap.